Okay, let's unpack this. I want you to imagine for a second that your mind is not just a container.
Right.
It isn't just a bucket where you dump information from the internet.
Yeah.
Or, a screen where you sit back with popcorn and watch the movie of your life happen to you.
Mm.
Imagine, instead, that your mind is a factory, a bustling, noisy, 24-hour, never-sleeping factory. And right in the center of this factory, there's a master weaver.
That is a vivid and powerful image to start with. The master weaver. It sets the stage perfectly for what we're discussing.
Exactly. And this weaver is constantly working at the loom. Clack, clack, clack. And James Allen, the author we are focusing on today, tells us this weaver is creating two distinct garments at the same time.
Simultaneously.
He is weaving the inner garment of your character and the outer garment of your circumstance.
Which is a terrifying and empowering thought all at once. It suggests that the reality we are walking around in, the job we have, the relationships we hold, the stress or the peace we feel, is not just happening to us.
Like weather.
Exactly. Not like weather. We are weaving it thread by thread.
Right. And Allen lays out the stakes right at the beginning. He says we have two choices. We are either weaving in ignorance and pain, creating a garment that suffocates us, or we are weaving in enlightenment and happiness.
There is no neutral ground.
No neutral ground. You are always weaving.
That is the central premise of today. And it brings us to a topic that usually sounds, I don't know, daunting, perhaps even a bit pretentious, but we're going to make it incredibly practical.
Yes, we are. This is episode 10, The Meaning of Life.
The big one.
The big one. The one everyone tries to avoid at dinner parties because it gets too heavy.
But we're not approaching this with vague philosophical wandering. We aren't going to tell you to go live in a cave. We are looking at this through the lens of James Allen's classic from 1903, As a Man Thinketh.
But we're also layering in modern behavioral science.
And acceptance and commitment therapy, ancient Stoic philosophy.
We're going to see how they all say the exact same thing, just in different dialects.
Precisely. The Victorian mystic and the modern neuroscientist are shaking hands across history.
Before we fire up the loom, though, we have to do our one piece of housekeeping. If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
It really does help us keep the lights on in the factory.
It does. So here is our mission for this conversation. We want to strip away the woo. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do.
When people talk about the meaning of life, it usually involves sitting on a mountaintop or buying expensive crystals or just, waiting for the universe to send you a text message.
Or waiting for a lightning bolt of inspiration that tells you exactly what your destiny is. We have this romantic idea that meaning is something you just stumble upon.
Like a buried treasure chest.
Yes, exactly.
We want to look at the mechanics of a meaningful life. We want to look at the architecture. Because James Allen treats this like a science.
It's cause and effect. It's engineering.
It's calm, confident, and incredibly practical. This is about building a life that stands up, not just one that feels good for 5 minutes.
So let's jump into the core concept, the architecture of meaning.
Allen has this phrase that I think sums up the whole book, but it's a bit dense. He says, they themselves are makers of themselves.
The law of the harvest.
Yes. Break that down for us. What does he mean by the law of the harvest in the context of our mind? Because usually when I hear harvest, I think of farming, not psychology.
Well, Allen uses this beautiful, inescapable metaphor of the garden. It is the central metaphor of his work.
The garden.
He says the mind is like a garden, and that garden can be intelligently cultivated, tended with care, or it can be allowed to run wild. But, and this is the crucial part, whether it is cultivated or neglected, it must and will bring forth.
It's not going to stay barren. It's not like an empty parking lot.
Never. Nature abhors a vacuum. Biological systems always produce something. If you do not plant useful seeds of purpose, discipline, kindness, patience, then weed seeds will fall in there.
And they'll grow.
And they will grow. You don't have to plant weeds. You don't have to try to get weeds. You don't have to wake up and say, today I want to be anxious and resentful.
They just show up.
They are the automatic result of negligence. If you do nothing, you get weeds. If you do nothing, you get chaos.
That is the scary part I mentioned earlier. If I just coast, if I just drift through my week, watching TV, doing the bare minimum at work, not really thinking about how I'm thinking, I'm not just staying neutral. I'm actively growing a jungle of garbage.
You are growing anxiety. You are growing resentment. You are growing confusion. Allen argues that aimlessness is a vice. Now, that is a strong word.
It is a strong word.
We think of vice as drinking, gambling, stealing. But Alan says simply not having a plan, simply drifting, is a moral failing because of what it produces in your garden. It produces thorns that hurt you and the people around you.
So the inescapable result is that we are harvesting what we planted, or what we allowed to be planted, in the past.
Correct. And this connects directly to the meaning of life. Alan argues that meaning isn't something you find out there in the world.
Right.
You don't find meaning in a new car or a promotion or even in a relationship, necessarily. Meaning is connected to character, purpose, and the inner rule. It is an inside-out job.
The outer conditions of a person's life will always be found to be harmoniously related to his inner state. That's the quote, right?
That is the one.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here, because I can hear a listener right now screaming at their phone. They're saying, wait, are you saying I chose to get laid off? Are you saying I chose for my partner to leave me? Are you saying people in poverty or war zones just thought their way into that?
That is the classic objection, and it is a valid one if you read Alan superficially. It sounds like victim blaming, can sound cruel.
Right. It sounds like The Secret, just visualize a Ferrari and you get one. Or if you get sick, it's because you had bad vibes.
Exactly, and we need to be very clear. That is not what Alan is saying, and it is certainly not what the Stoics meant. Alan isn't saying you control every event.
Okay.
He isn't saying you control the global economy or the decisions of your spouse. He is saying you control the character that meets the event.
Can you give me an example?
Imagine two people lose their jobs on the same day. Same economy, same layoff. Person A has a garden full of weeds, fear, resentment, victimhood. They spiral. They blame the boss, they drink, they stop trying. Their circumstance becomes a tragedy. Person B has a cultivated garden resilience, adaptability, optimism.
Right.
They view the layoff as a pivot point. They use the time to learn a new skill or reconnect with family. Their circumstance becomes a new beginning.
So the event is the same, but the reality they live in is different because of the inner state.
Precisely. Over time, your character shapes your circumstances because it dictates how you respond to the world. If you are angry and resentful, you create a hostile environment.
People don't want to help you.
Exactly. If you are disciplined and kind, you create a cooperative environment. Opportunities tend to find you.
So meaning in plain English isn't about feeling good. It's not about everything going your way.
No. And we need to translate this Victorian language because as a man thinketh can sound a bit, well, flowery to modern ears.
A little bit.
When Alan talks about thought, he's talking about identity. He says, a man is literally what he thinks. He means that the running narrative in your head, the story you tell yourself about who you are, that is your reality.
So if my narrative is I'm lazy, or I'm just not good at math, or people always take advantage of me, I am literally constructing that reality.
You are.
I am pouring the concrete for that life.
You are cementing it. You are watering those seeds every time you repeat that thought. Meaning, in this context, means living by a higher standard. It means becoming a certain kind of person. It means doing what is right, even when it is hard.
This sounds a lot like the Stoics. I know we promised to bring them in.
It is pure Stoicism. And it is also pure Aristotle. Aristotle talked about eudaimonia.
Eudaimonia. That's a Greek term. I feel like I've heard it in philosophy class, but I never really got it.
Yes. We often translate it as happiness, but that is a terrible translation.
Really?
It really means flourishing. It implies function. Think of a flower. A happy flower isn't smiling. It is growing. It is photosynthesis. It is doing what a flower is meant to do.
So for a human, flourishing isn't sitting on the couch eating ice cream.
No. That is pleasure. Flourishing means functioning at your highest potential. It's the feeling you get not when you eat a donut, but when you finish a marathon. It's the satisfaction of doing something difficult but worthwhile. It is aiming at a mark and hitting it.
That distinction is huge, because I feel like modern culture is obsessed with the donut version of happiness. We want the shortcut.
We are. And that brings us to the modern confusion. We are chasing hedonia, pleasure-seeking, instead of eudaimonia, meaning seeking.
Hedonia is the dopamine hit, the scroll on social media, the impulse buy, the treat-yourself culture.
Exactly. And the trap is that modern culture tells us to chase feelings. We think, if I'm not happy right now, if I'm not euphoric, something is wrong. But Alan warns us against this. He says, drifting, just following your moods, leads to petty worries and self-pity.
And there is science backing this up, right?
Yeah.
This isn't just an old guy yelling at clouds about kids these days.
Not at all. Dr. Michael Steiger is a leading researcher on meaning in life. His research shows that meaning has two main components, coherence and purpose.
Break those down. What does coherence actually mean in a life?
Coherence means your life makes sense. You look at your past, your present, and your future, and you see a story that holds together. You understand who you are and where you fit.
It's the opposite of feeling fragmented or chaotic.
Exactly. And purpose.
Purpose is having a direction.
You're heading somewhere. It is not about feeling happy in the moment. It is about having a structure that holds you together when things are tough. If you have purpose, you can endure pain.
If you have no purpose, even comfort feels empty.
Right. So if I am just chasing the next fun weekend, I might have high pleasure, but low coherence and low purpose.
And eventually, that creates a crisis.
Because pleasure is fleeting. It evaporates. You eat the donut, it's gone.
Yeah.
But character, coherence, purpose, those are stable. They are the bedrock.
Another big part of this modern confusion is what we call the attention economy. We're constantly being told to look at other people. We carry around these little glass rectangles that show us everyone else's highlight reel.
Chasing applause. It is a massive drain on our meaning.
Yes, chasing applause.
Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote about this almost 2,000 years ago. He warned against valuing the opinions of others over one's own character.
I love this line of his.
The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts.
That is such a vivid image. Dyed with the color of its thoughts. So if my thoughts are constantly on, what do they think of me? Or, look how great their life is compared to mine.
Your soul gets dyed with envy and insecurity.
They become stained.
Exactly. Alan uses the metaphor of the mirror. He argues that our environment is just a looking glass. It reflects us back to ourselves.
Right.
If we are obsessed with external validation, with likes, with status, with keeping up with the Joneses, we're trying to polish the mirror to make ourselves look better.
Instead of washing our face.
Precisely. You cannot change the reflection by scrubbing the glass. You have to change the thing being reflected. You have to change the self.
You have to do the inner work.
If you feel insecure, no amount of likes will fix that because the insecurity is the object and the like is just a reflection.
And the third part of this confusion is living reactively. I feel like this is the default setting for most of us.
Oh, absolutely.
We wake up, we check our phone, we react to an email, we react to the news, we react to traffic. We are like pinballs in a machine.
Alan calls this drifting on the ocean of life. If you don't have a rudder, if you don't have a map, the currents take you. And here's the scary thing about the modern world. The currents are not neutral.
The currents aren't just nature anymore.
No. The currents are algorithms. They are marketing campaigns. They are designed to sell you things or keep you angry so you keep clicking. Living reactively makes you a victim of circumstance.
You start saying, I'm angry because of the traffic, or I'm sad because of the news.
You are outsourcing your emotional state to things you cannot control.
So the shift, the big pivot Alan wants us to make, is moving from, I am a creature of outside conditions, to, I am a creative power.
Yes. That is the moment of empowerment. That is the red pill. When you realize I can't control the traffic, but I can control the garden of my mind while I sit in the traffic.
That is when you become the master weaver.
You stop being the thread and you start being the weaver.
Okay, so we know the architecture and we know why we are confused. We're drifting, we're chasing dopamine, we're looking in the mirror. Let's talk about the method. How do we actually build meaning? Alan gives us a blueprint.
He does. It's not a magic spell. It's a construction project. And the first step is choose a purpose and values.
Alan calls this a legitimate purpose.
Yes. Alan argues we must have a legitimate purpose in our hearts. It doesn't have to be save the world.
Right.
It doesn't have to be cure cancer. It could be raise kind children or master the guitar or run a strictly honest business. But it has to be central.
Why is the centralization so important? Why can't I just have 10 different loose interests?
Focus. It acts as a filter. When you have a central purpose, it excludes doubt and fear. Imagine you are building a house. If you have a blueprint, you know exactly what materials to buy. If you don't have a blueprint, you just buy whatever looks nice at the hardware store. You end up with a pile of junk, not a house.
So when a distraction comes up, like a Twitter fight or a new TV show, you can ask, does this serve my purpose? If no, you discard it.
Exactly. Without the purpose, you have no filter, so you let everything in. You let the weeds in.
This aligns with acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT, right? I know we wanted to touch on the science here.
It does perfectly. In ACT, they talk about values as a compass. This is a crucial distinction.
A compass, not a map.
A compass doesn't give you a destination. You never reach north. You can't sit down on north. But north gives you a direction to walk. If you are lost in the woods, A compass is more valuable than a map of a different city.
I love that. So purpose isn't a finish line where you say, okay, I'm done, I have meaning now.
No, it's a direction.
It's a direction you walk every day.
Right. It provides the direction for committed action. Even when the terrain is rough, you know which way is north.
Okay, step 2 in the method, align thoughts and actions.
This is the mechanism. Remember, thoughts are seeds, acts are blossoms, circumstances are fruits.
You can't plant corn and get nettled.
And you cannot plant lazy, resentful thoughts and get a disciplined, happy life.
Alan has this great line about a sour mind.
Yes. He says you cannot have a sour mind and a sweet life. It's chemically impossible in the factory of the mind. Impure thoughts crystallize into enervating habits. That word enervating is so perfect.
That means draining, weakening.
So when I sit around stewing in jealousy or anger, I am literally draining my own battery.
You are. And you are crystallizing habits that will make your life harder. So integrity isn't just a moral nice to have.
It's structural.
It's structural. It's the alignment of the seed, the blossom, and the fruit. If your thoughts say one thing, I value health, and your actions say another, I'm eating fast food, you are structurally unsound.
You will collapse under pressure. Step 3, accept responsibility. This is the hard one. This is the one that makes people uncomfortable.
Radical ownership. Alan says, man is manacled only by himself.
That is a tough pill to swallow. Manacled only by himself.
It sounds like he's saying we are our own jailers.
We are, but here's the flip side, which is the most hopeful thing you'll hear today. If you are the jailer, you also have the key. If someone else locked you up, you have to wait for them to let you out. You are helpless. But if you lock yourself up with your own thoughts and habits, you can turn the key.
That is the Stoic rule again.
We control our judgments and our actions, nothing else. Taking responsibility is not about blaming yourself and feeling guilty.
It's not about beating yourself up.
No, it is about claiming the power to change. It is saying, I am the weaver. If I don't like the garment, I will weave a new one.
And the final step in the method, serve and contribute.
This is where we get out of our own heads. Because if you spend all day just thinking about your character and your thoughts, you can become narcissistic.
Right.
Meaning is not abstract. You don't find meaning by thinking about meaning in a dark room. You find it in practical service.
Small, real ways, not necessarily donating $1 million.
Alan says the righteous man blesses his community, and the science on altruism is incredibly robust. Doing good for others is one of the strongest predictors of well-being.
It gets you out of the self-pity loop.
It forces you to look outward.
It seems like the integrity piece ties all of this together.
It does. Integrity is the glue. It is the alignment.
I love the image from Proverbs that integrity is a shield.
It's a powerful visual. Think about the energy it takes to be two different people. To have a work self who pretends to be confident and a home self who is insecure, or a public face that is polite and a private face that is judgmental.
It's exhausting.
You are constantly guarding your lies, constantly managing perceptions. It's like holding a beach ball underwater.
It is exhausting.
But if you have integrity, if your inside matches your outside, you have nothing to hide. You are shielded. You are safe. You can walk into any room and be the same person.
And that leads to what Alan calls serenity.
Serenity. That sounds nice. Like a spa day.
Right.
It's more than nice. It is powerful. Alan calls it the fruitage of the soul and the last lesson of culture. Serenity isn't just being relaxed or taking a nap. It's the calm of the ocean depths that aren't disturbed by the surface storms.
It comes from the absolute knowledge that you are living in alignment with the laws of life.
You aren't fighting reality anymore.
Let's ground this. We've been talking high-level architecture, and I know our listeners want to know what this looks like on a Tuesday morning. Let's look at 3 practical examples of how this shifts a real life. Let's start with work.
Okay. The shift here is moving from survival or paycheck to craft and contribution.
Most people work for the weekend. We view work as the penalty we pay to have fun later.
Right. And that makes the work week a prison. If you spend 40 hours a week in prison, you are going to be miserable. Alan talks about the faultless performance of duty.
He sounds a bit rigid. Faultless performance of duty. Sounds like something a Victorian headmaster would say.
It sounds rigid, but think of it like an artist or a master carpenter. It doesn't matter if they are building a cathedral or a doghouse. They bring excellence to the task because of who they are, not because of what the task is.
So imagine a guy named Steve. Steve works in customer service. He gets yelled at by strangers all day. How does Steve find meaning there?
If Steve views his job as taking abuse for money, he will be miserable. But if Steve views his job through the lens of character, he can say, my purpose is to be a force of calm in a chaotic world. Every angry caller is a test of his stoicism. Every problem solved is an act of service.
So the meaning is in the quality of the effort, not the prestige of the job.
Exactly. Alan says the strength of the effort is the measure of the result. If you are a janitor and you clean with excellence and pride, you are building a character of excellence. That character is an asset you own.
He goes with you.
If you are a CEO and you work with sloppiness and dishonesty, you are building a character of weakness.
Second example, relationships.
The shift here is from what can I get to truth and patience.
We often treat relationships like transactions. I put in kindness coins, I get out validation.
I did the dishes, so you should praise me.
Exactly. And when the vending machine eats our coins, when we are nice and the other person's grumpy, we get angry. We feel ripped off.
Alan and the Stoics view love as an action. It is consistent action, independent of the result.
There is that concept of the soft answer.
Yes, from Proverbs. A soft answer turns away wrath. It is the ultimate power move.
How so?
When someone comes at you with anger, the reactive thing is to explode back. The drifting thing is to explode back. That's just physics. Action, reaction.
The cultivated garden response is control.
It is controlling the temper to maintain peace. It is not weakness, it is strength. It takes more strength to catch a fastball than to throw one.
That's a great way to put it.
Absorbing that anger and returning kindness is a sign of a master weaver. You are refusing to let their weeds seed your garden.
Third example, habits.
The shift here is from chores to devotion to future self.
I like that. Devotion to future self.
We usually think of habits as restrictions. I have to work out, I have to save money, I can't eat that. But if we use the Atomic Habits framework, which aligns perfectly with Alan, every action is a vote for the type of person you want to become.
So I'm not just going for a run. I am casting a vote for I am a runner. I am proving it to myself.
Exactly. Routines are not restrictions, they are the structure of freedom.
Say more about that.
If you have a routine for your finances, you are free from money anxiety. If you have a routine for your health, you are free from certain physical limitations. You are building the heavenly mansion Alan talks about, brick by brick.
Okay, I want to do this. I want to start weaving a better garment. I want to pull the weeds. Let's do the guided exercise. We're calling this the meaning reset.
This is a practical step-by-step walkthrough. I want you, the listener, to actually pause and think about these answers. Don't just listen passively.
Engage the weaver. Step 1. Identify the empty area.
Scan your life. Look at your work, your health, your relationships. Find the one place that feels aimless. Where do you feel like you are just drifting?
There are the weeds growing.
Where do you feel that low-level anxiety?
Got it. For me, honestly, maybe it's my evening routine. I get home, I'm tired, and I just spiral into scrolling and snacking. It feels empty.
Perfect example. That is aimlessness. You aren't choosing to relax, you are collapsing.
Oof. Right. Step 2. Name the value.
What value do you want to embody there? Instead of scrolling, what is the virtue? Is it rest? Is it learning? Is it connection?
Let's say restoration. I want to feel restored, not drained. I want to treat my brain with respect.
Excellent. Step 3. Write a purpose statement. Create a simple sentence.
I am the type of person who...
Connect it to identity.
Okay. I am the type of person who treats my rest as a sacred recharge.
Beautiful. See how different that feels from I shouldn't look at my phone?
Yeah, one feels like a rule, the other feels like an identity.
Now, step 4. Choose one small service action. This uses implementation intentions.
The if-then planning we talked about.
Yes. What is one contribution or action you can make today to prove that identity?
If it is 8 p.m., then I will put my phone in the kitchen and read a book for 20 minutes.
Specific. Actionable. You know exactly what to do.
Step 5. Remove one contradiction.
Identify a weed. What is one thing you are doing that actively fights your new purpose?
In my case, it's the phone on the nightstand. It's just too easy to grab it.
So the removal is, the phone does not enter the bedroom.
Commit to stopping it for just today. Don't worry about forever. Just today.
Exactly. Forever is too heavy. Just weed the garden today.
And finally, step 6, the inner script.
Close with a short internal mantra. Alan gives us a great one. I am the master of my thought. I choose to serve.
I am the master of my thought. I choose to serve. That changes the energy completely.
It puts you back in the driver's seat. It reminds you that you are not the loom, you are the weaver.
Now, even with a plan, we're going to mess up. We are human. What are the common mistakes people make when they try to build meaning?
Mistake number one is the biggest. Chasing the feeling of meaning rather than doing the work of meaning.
We want the cinematic swell of music. We want to cry a single tear of joy.
Right, and when we are scrubbing the floor or writing the report, there is no music, it's boring.
So we think, this isn't meaningful.
The fix is to focus on duty and action. Let the feelings catch up later. The feeling of satisfaction usually comes after the work is done, not before.
Mistake 2. Waiting for motivation.
We get this backward all the time. We think we need to feel motivated to act. But action precedes motivation. Allen says, the will to do springs from the knowledge that we can do.
You start doing, and the motivation kicks in.
Mistake 3. Living reactively. The victim mindset. We talked about this.
You made me angry. The economy ruined me.
The fix is radical responsibility. I am the maker of my condition. Even if you can't control the economy, you control your economy, your response.
Mistake 4. Trying to change others.
Oh, this is a common one. We learn about gardening, and we immediately want to go weed our neighbor's garden.
Yeah, you have a lot of anger weeds over there.
It usually doesn't go over well, never. The fix is, tend your own garden. You cannot weed your neighbor's plot. Your example is the only thing that might influence them, but your control ends at your own fence line.
Mistake 5. Neglecting the small things.
We want the big hero moment. We want to save the burning building. We don't want to do the dishes with love.
But the ocean is made of drops.
And character is made of small thoughts. The fix is assiduous attention to everyday details. How you do the small things is how you do everything.
Wow. We have covered a lot of ground today, from the factory of the mind to the garden to the Stoics and the neuroscientists. Let's recap the key points before we wrap up.
Let's look at the 7 pillars we've built today. First, meaning is not found. It is created by the alignment of thought and action.
Second, your mind is a garden. You must plant useful seeds or weeds will grow automatically.
Third, aimlessness is a vice. You need a centralizing purpose to anchor your life.
Fourth, integrity is the alignment of your inner rule with your outer actions.
Fifth, responsibility is the key to power. You are the master weaver.
Sixth, serenity is the result of self-control and the fruitage of the soul.
And seventh, service and contribution are the ultimate expressions of meaningful life.
It is a blueprint. It's not magic, it's architecture.
It is the work of a lifetime, but it is the only work that ultimately matters.
This has been incredible. Next time, for episode 11, we're going to expand the lens.
We are going to the greater world.
We've looked inside the garden. Now we're going to look at how that garden connects to the forest.
Moving from the individual self to the collective connection. How our meaning connects to the larger universe.
It's the natural next step.
Once you have order within, you can bring order to the world.
I can't wait. Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.